You're one of the few people who's actually been allowed to see the unredacted Epstein files. What did you find?
I mean, men who either underage girls or went to Epstein's island knowing underage girls were being or paraded around.
They were protecting the identity of Sirkabas shooter. Sorry. Shout out to the Indians. I love Indians.
You know, just recently I saw an FBI memo that there were no cameras in bedrooms of Epstein's house. And then you look at the photos the FBI took, there's a camera in his bedroom. To me, this looks like a cover-up, but who are they covering for? First of all, do you agree with that?
Israel, obviously.
It's obviously a cover-up. It's probably one of the biggest cover-ups in American history. I mean, they're covering up for rich and powerful people who visited this island where young girls were being.
However,
even then, like the day that the FBI raided the Epstein Island for child sex trafficking, Epstein in the emails, they found that he ordered $4,300 worth of sulfuric acid. This is used to dissolve bodies. Was he dissolving his jerky or his jerky? Let's see what, actually, I do want to see this. Let's see Coffeezilla. He looks like Lex Friedman here, interviewing a congressman on the Epstein files cover-up.
Today I interviewed Congressman Ro Khanna on the Epstein files. He's one of the origins of the Epstein Transparency Act, along with Thomas Massie, who I also tried to get on the show.
The GOAT.
They're a Republican-Democrat duo.
Nick, you fuck with Thomas Massie, right? I like him a lot. I'm a big fan of Massie. I hope he doesn't switch up.
Who have been fighting to get the Epstein files publicized, and it's my privilege today to interview him. You're one of the few people who's actually been allowed to see the unredacted Epstein files. What did you find?
Well, first, we found that they were protecting the identity of 6 men. I mean, Massie and I went for 2.
They were protecting the identity of Sirkabas shooter. Sorry. Shout out to the Indians. I love Indians.
They were protecting the identity.
You like Massie? He's the GOAT.
6 men. I mean, Massie and I went for 2 hours.
Speaking of that, Nick, while you're in here, why does Kash Patel, why does he look like he's seen everything in the Epstein files? Like every time I look at his face, I don't know about you. Remember when he said like, I'll see you in Valhalla? Like nigga look like his face looks like he's looking at Charlie Kirk in Valhalla. He's looking, he looks like he saw every single Jake Shields tweet, don't he? Ooh. Anyway, stupid.
Hours, and there were 6 men who were listed as co-conspirators, and their names were redacted. I went to the floor of the House.
Third eye not picture. Hey, that's Chud and it's conspiracy.
The representatives today, and I called out those 6 men by name:
Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World.
Brother!
And billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner.
We need courage in this country to hold people accountable.
Facts.
Who have been accused of some of the most heinous crimes. I mean, men who either underage girls or went to Epstein's island knowing underage girls were being or paraded around.
One of the biggest parts of this story has been the meta story of the cover-up. Every time it seems like they're going to get the files out there, it's like opposite day. They redact names they shouldn't. They miss deadlines.
They do. Bro, someone just sent me a mail. They replied to my New York Fashion Week. Look at that mog. And they replied, if you got your ears pinned back slightly, you'd mog to death, but those monkey ears low-key ruin your whole appearance. Fuck you, bro. I don't have monkey ears.
They mischaracterize evidence. You know, just recently I saw an FBI memo that there were no cameras in bedrooms of Epstein's house. And then you look at the photos the FBI took, there's a camera in his bedroom. So I just want to understand this. To me, this looks like a cover-up, but who are they covering for? First of all, do you agree with that?
Israel, obviously. Obviously, Coffeezilla. Maybe we could talk about it. And you're saying that Lacey, is he talking about this? Dude, why does this bang? 7,000 likes? Why does that bang? Did he even say any? Did he say it was Israel?
Events in the world just completely sweeping this Epstein shit under the rug is disgusting.
There we go. W. Lacey.
The fact that
Lacey, you want to know who's behind it? Like, it's good. It's good. You guys saying Free Palestine. I mean, it takes like a little bit of research to figure out who was funding Epstein. It was Leslie Wexner and Leon Black. Where he was in the email saying that he represents the Rothschilds' central bank system, right? Satanic people. They worship Zavatai Zevi and Frankus and stuff like that. But it really goes back to Judaism for the Rothschild family.
We can have that we're having a Super Bowl, we're having the Grammys, and every single thing, no one's talking about it. It's being completely swept under the rug. The fact that it came out,
yes,
that
yes,
the kids eating babies.
Okay, all right. Eating baby. Okay, now I understand Nick's point. So he's talking about eating babies instead of the fact that he worked for Israel. Now, maybe he's vindicated a little bit. When he's like completely certain about this theory, but has not mentioned Israel at all. They're eating babies. Talk about the important aspect of it. No, it's good though. He's on the. We just got to steer him in the right direction.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting, and it's scary, the fact that people in Hollywood are not speaking up or saying anything. Had a huge event broadcasted in the Super Bowl with the Grammys, not a word. No one says a word. No one says a word about the Epstein files. Nothing about the things that are coming out in the world. It's almost like it's not happening. People are trying to act like it's not happening.
Yeah. Well, W. Lacey, that's great. That's great. Great to hear. But you saying this, but also, are you going to spend any time researching the file? You could look at jmail.world and look through the emails. You could figure out a lot of this stuff. He's saying that nobody's looking into it. I mean, you have a big platform. Are you going to do any research? Are you going to figure out who financed him? Are you going to figure out why this happened and who's covering up? I would like him to.
Who do you think they're covering for, and if you think they're covering it up at all?
It's obviously a cover-up. It's probably one of the biggest cover-ups in American history. I mean, they're covering up for rich and powerful people who visited this island where young girls were being not just the American elite, the global elite. This is shaking the British monarchy.
Yeah, it was strange. I know Nick's saying that there were only 14, but Howard Lutnick, 4 years after Epstein was convicted of sex crimes, Howard Lutnick takes a boat to lunch. After being disgusted with him, just goes on a little lunch date on a boat with all of his children, and he specified in the email, my kids are 14, 13, 12, 11, 6, and 7. I've never seen a parent do that before. Strange stuff.
Toppled the British government. It has the Norwegian princess now not being able to be.
He said, I bet this room smells like curry. Can somebody time out that racist fuck for a little bit?
Queen. I mean, it's had international reverberation.
Of course, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's one of my biggest problems with the story.
Ro Khanna says he saw things worse than rape in the files. What would that be?
Probably pizza, jerky, ice cream, spirit cooking, witchcraft. Could be ball worship. Could be a multitude of things. I mean, like Epstein did have a book of magic sex next to the Talmud behind him.
Internationally, we're seeing some accountability, however.
Even then, like the day that the FBI raided the Epstein Island for child sex trafficking, Epstein in the emails, they found that he ordered $4,300 worth of sulfuric acid. This is used to dissolve bodies. Was he dissolving his jerky or his jerky?
Or small. I have seen zero accountability in America. And so look, while I appreciate the transparency, I was talking to friends, people who follow the show, and they said, where is the accountability? Are we going to see a single person in America besides Ghislaine Maxwell or Jeffrey Epstein face justice?
Well, that's why I went to the floor today and named these people. I wanted those names public. I mean, if the Justice Department isn't going to do their job, if the FBI isn't, then members of Congress can take to the floor and start naming names. And that's why I did that. But we need investigations, and we need...
They should redeem those files.
Political accountability. I mean, how can you have Howard Lutnick, right, who lies to the American people? He says, I never had anything to
Howard Lutnick, again, he's the Secretary of Commerce for Donald Trump, and he was next door neighbors with Jeffrey Epstein. Once again, coincidentally, not there the day of 9/11 because he was taking his son to kindergarten. And then a couple years later, he took his son, the same son, to Epstein Island. Man, that son is really, really convenient for him.
With Epstein.
Was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy.
Allegedly, in my opinion.
Then it comes out that he actually went to Epstein's island.
We had lunch on the island. That is true.
And then it comes out that he allegedly had a business with Epstein after Epstein was a convicted pedophile. It's an indictment on America.
I convicted the pedophile. He was convicted for the pedophile. Poop up. Sorry. Shout out to everyone.
That in other nations, literally their heads of states are falling if they just had email correspondence with Epstein. And here we've got someone like Lutnick still in government. We need accountability. We need prosecutions of people who actually showed up in the island and folks. And we need, by the way, the cover-up to end. What is the biggest cover-up? I just want to explain this simply. The FBI...
Lutnick? I'm joking. Well, yeah, Nick tweeted earlier today, Howard Lutnick needs to be fired. Les Wexler needs to be indicted. And the DOJ needs to unredact and release every single one of these 6 million Epstein files. Nick, really, bro? Really, dude? Is he still here? 6 million Epstein files? Really, bro? And investigate everybody who's implicated. This isn't going away. Facts. Very true.
You search Emmer Zeventh, put the actual number. On YouTube, they got a good Epstein vid.
Stop telling me what to do. So let's see what he talked about. I saw Nick was talking about Lutnick last night.
So here's the thing about the files.
Think about this.
We only have half of them. You have to understand this.
Giba is saying the truth about someone absent they wouldn't like being said about them.
True. Wait, Nick, wasn't it 3 million files, not 6 million? There's no way it was 6 million.
We only have half.
Was it 271K?
Of them. There are 6 million files. The DOJ released 3 million.
Oh, okay.
So it's not.
Wait, so it's actually
Also,
6.
if I may ask, how do you like your steak cooked?
I don't eat steak. Shut up. I'm not Porco. It's actually 6 million files? Seriously? Is it really 6 million files? What does BWA stand
Even
for?
like we have the majority of them. We have half. And the files that we do have, we don't even have the complete documents. Names and details and all kinds of other information is being withheld. So this is why I said we cannot jump to conclusions. And you want to know why? If people take things that are fake or
Jeremiah Glazer
exaggerated or embellished and they promote these things, and we've seen it happen for the past 2 weeks, those things will be debunked. And you know what people are going to say then? They're going to say, well, we released the files. There was nothing bad in the files. People thought there was, but they were wrong. They didn't do their research. And
Am I glazing? I fuck with this hat angle. I need to get it straight though. The black one, I fuck with this. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, just like that. Dig. Wait, Nick, what do you think? Would you cop? I'm dropping these soon. I'm dropping the GLMs very soon.
You truly inspire me, I hope and make art Laku soon what die to dow with Dave's Benjamin dut bout music.
Okay, cool. Put a GLM in the chat. GLM for all my Goyim over here. Very soon on SNEAKO.com.
turned out to be a nothing burger. But here's what we need to press on, and I've been saying this for 2 weeks.
He's copping.
Don't take these files and take one vague little email, because that's what people are doing. They take anything that looks suspicious, anything that looks damning, and they
GLM.
say, here's the evidence. No, that's not the evidence.
So I want to see. Okay, here's Howard Lutnick again. Bro, I hate this motherfucker, bro. I know love speech. I hate that motherfucker, bro. I got to be better on that. But let's continue.
Scrubbed these files in March before my law, and the most sensitive information are in the FBI files. That's where the survivors named the names of the people who abused them. They're in those FBI files. Donald Trump's FBI scrubbed that in March, and they sent the scrubbed files to Justice. And so Justice then did a second round of.
Why is the only congressman who agreed to this interview? Does he have to be Indian? Like he couldn't get. Was that obviously wasn't his first choice? He wanted to get Massey. Did Coffeezilla have to settle with this guy?
Actions, but under my law, the Epstein Transparency Act that Massey and I passed, we need to have those FBI files unscrubbed. We need them unredacted. And that is where the information is. And the only reason I believe they're redacted is they're protecting very rich and powerful people in this country.
Well, look, I mean, part of the thing that I've appreciated about this push, it's a bipartisan push. Both left and right have gotten behind it, look, saying, hey, we gotta unredact this. We got to see who's really in there. You bring up a great point. A lot of powerful people have lied about their association with Jeffrey Epstein. That's been one of the great revelations that has come out of it. But it's, I criticized Howard Lutnick, but we
Caesar Dissy, what did he say? What did he say?
Also have Stacey Plaskett. She's saying, I wasn't a friend of him.
That are not your friends. Jeffrey Epstein had information, and I was going to get information.
What were you doing on that island? Damn, baby, what are you doing on that island? What the fuck going on that island? You should not be on there eating that pizza.
Having a real friendship with him is not something that I would.
No, chat. This is not Candace Owens. You fucking. I hate when you guys be racist like that.
Deemed to have.
And then we
Did
see
you see
text messages
Islam
where
Makachev meeting Serbian president and gifting him fight gloves? Craziel.
I did not see that. Why did you put a French accent for Crazy L? I did not see that. But Kakosita, all my Bosnians out there. Steima! Bosnia on top.
He says, I'm going to call you my friend.
Best
And he
Balkan
says,
region.
Yeah, don't worry, we're
Best Balkan
friends. I
country.
mean, this is a problem that crosses party lines. And my worry is this. Look, right now there's a lot of push, bipartisan, but especially from Democrats. Look, we got to hold these people, accountable. I agree with them. I agreed with the Republicans when they said they were going to hold them accountable last time. My problem is this. Next time, let's say you guys get in power. How can we trust that you guys are going to do what's necessary with the next DOJ? Because it doesn't seem like we're going to get the DOJ to do anything this time. I think we probably both agree on that. How can we trust the next DOJ to take the proper action and hold people accountable?
Well, I think you have to look at the record. You can trust people like Massey and me. We didn't politicize this. We said whoever.
Yeah, Massey's done a great job so far. He unredacted the files where now they're including Leslie Wexner as a co-conspirator. So shout out to Thomas Massey. W. Massey for that.
Is implicated, needs to pay the.
And can they just fucking say it's Israel? Like, why is everyone afraid? Like, why is nobody saying what's so blatantly obvious?
Consequences. There are Democratic donors like Bill Gates that are in the files. They need to testify. Keir Starmer is someone I knew. I met with him. He's someone who shares. I celebrated when he won. I have no sympathy for Mendelsohn or the Starmer government. I have no sympathy.
Keir Starmer's in the files?
Donors or big tech folks, some of whom who have supported the party, who are in these files. I have said that President Clinton should testify.
Wait, Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of the UK, is in here? What the fuck? Whoa! What? Huh? What? Am I Jester maxing? You knew this was here? Oh, he just, this is April 2025. What the hell? Hooker compensation, scumbag. Okay, let's look before 2025. Where's Keir Starmer? Like, take it or leave it. U.S. nuclear issue is the wrong strategy. Where's Keir Starmer? Did he go to a party or anything? A lot of this is from 2025. Am I in this? No. Nick Fuentes. You live to fight another day. You live to fight another day. What about Aiden Ross? Ross. Okay. Anyway.
And he is. So Massey and I, the reason we've been successful is we haven't made this about Donald Trump or Bill Clinton or politics. We haven't made this Republican or Democrat. We have said wherever the facts go, that's where we're going to go. If it takes down the Democratic donors, it's going to take down the Democratic donors. If it's going to take down Republicans, they'll take down Republicans. And why do you think other people haven't been willing to do it? Because we made some very powerful enemies. There are a lot of billionaires and people in this Epstein class who are against us. So I don't think you can trust a party per se, but I think you can trust people who have a track record of standing up for doing the right thing.
I want to go to the July 2025 systemic review the FBI claims it did. They made a bunch of surprising findings because later they were revealed to be, in my view, false. They say, one, this systemic review has no incriminating client list. Well, we see internal slide decks basically from the FBI where very prominent names such as Trump, Jess Staley, Leon Black, Wes Wexner, Bill Clinton, a bunch of people have pretty shocking allegations against them. It goes to another part of their memo. They said there's no evidence that's going to predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Why not even investigate? That's kind of my problem.
You have hit the nail on the head. None of these rich and powerful people have even been asked under oath why they were on this island. What did they see? Who were the girls?
Someone in the chat said, "Fuck Coffeezilla." My cortisol got spiked by some chud.
They've just escaped not just prosecution, they've even escaped investigation. And the Department of Justice could open the investigation tomorrow into these people. And people say, well, why are we obsessed about something that happened years ago? First of all, the survivors deserve justice. And it's very callous for people just to say move on. But the second thing is, if we live in a society...
Oh, now look at this chud. LMAO, I own you. Okay, well, what else is this guy saying? Keir Starmer tried to arrest the Tates. Nigga, fucking Andrew Tate blamed me for a song. So, like, what? Keir Starmer tried to... You're so sensitive? Get the fuck out of my chat. Get banned for life.
People think the rich can just get away with things because of who they are. The powerful can just get away with things because of who they are. That you don't have a democratic government.
The Epstein files, why it's so frustrating is it's exposing a justice system that has two different classes. For the weak, you have laws that bind but don't protect. For the powerful, you have laws that protect and do not bind. I mean, do you agree this is what we're seeing with the Epstein files?
Yes, it's two tiers of justice in America. That's why I came up with the term Epstein class. If you're part of this rich, powerful club, then
what club is that?
You feel like you're above the law.
Speaking of accountability, I want to talk about, one of the claims by the Justice Department. I mean, they say there's no credible evidence Epstein is blackmailing individuals. This is a huge problem because the FBI basically failed to get a bunch of CDs, hard drives that later were found removed from Epstein's properties. But, there's this email basically Epstein sent himself about Bill Gates, where he alleges that he facilitated trysts with Bill Gates. Bill Gates denies this, but it reads as straight up blackmail. It's like, you need to give me X millions of dollars, otherwise, something's going to come out. Well, here's my problem, and this is what I'd love for people like Gates to be asked. He says he separated himself from Epstein, and then it turns out he sends a $2 million gift to MIT directed by Jeffrey Epstein.
Just like Howard Lutnick. I was so disgusted by him. Here's a boat to your island and $2 million.
So if he had nothing to do with it, this wasn't blackmail, why is he sending a $2 million gift? I mean, are we going to ever have it make sense? The gaslighting is what bothers me. You brought up Howard Lutnick. He says, oh, I was so disgusted, and then he's found to be in business with the guy. Like, I just don't like, and I don't think anyone likes, being lied to, especially by people in power.
The world owes an apology to Muslims. The world owes an apology to because everything that they're saying about Muslims for a long time, about what PBD and that narrative is, it's now applicable to the people that dominate the Epstein files. And come on, you can make the connections. Everything that they said about Muslims is what is in the Epstein files. Everything. It's time for everybody who bought that propaganda after weapons of mass destruction over the last 20 years. All that propaganda that was really being pushed by Israeli media, overwhelmingly dominating in American media. Time for everybody to be like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
And people who are making decisions sort of for the rest of us. Bill Gates has enormous influence. The idea that he would...
Muslims base, but pork is delicious. Hey, not to be a chud, but Jesus didn't eat pork, dummy. Okay, pork's delicious. Pork's delicious. Jesus didn't eat it.
Be kind of, compromised by some of these things is very alarming.
It is alarming, and that's why he needs to come under oath and answer these questions. That's why there should be an investigation where he's asked by the Justice Department and Congress. And I say this as a Democrat. I mean, he supported a lot of Democrats, but we need fundamental accountability. It can't just be about Lutnick because he's in the Trump administration. It needs to be across the board, regardless of people's politics. And the issue in terms of what Epstein was and what he was doing, look, even my law doesn't allow for the release of classified information. You can't in Congress declassify things. That's the rule. But what we need is a president who actually appoints someone who has credibility in the military or in intelligence to look through the classified information and
Pam Bondi
make a public report of what Epstein did and whether there was anything there. And that person has to have incredible credibility.
And I'm still banned on Twitch. My Twitch ban is still being reviewed. Holy moly, bro. You think we're going to get it or no? Or are we fucked?
Until then, there are going to be both rumors out there and conspiracy theories out there and legitimate questions. But that won't be answered just by my law. We need actually a commission that can look through the classified information.
Did you see Aiden's committee yesterday saying I'm anti-Semitic? It's like, really, guys? Like, really?
Stole that shit.
Like, really, bro? That's what... Anyway.
I'm glad you brought this up. One of the questions is, why did the plea deal in 2008 happen? Why did it seem like every time there was going to be something happening, it seemed like some bigger players were reaching in? The CIA was FOIA'd by Jeffrey Epstein about Jeffrey Epstein, and they basically denied it. They said, hey, we can't confirm or deny any classified evidence that we may or may not have on you. The NSA basically did the same thing. This is a big problem was
Coffeezilla is surprising me. He's actually he's a pretty good journalist and a good interviewer.
Epstein working for our government or foreign governments? This is something that's kind of speculated about a lot. There's a lot of emails with connections with powerful world leaders where Epstein seems to be in some type of
say it. Ehud Barak. Say it. Netanyahu. Say it. Coffeezilla. Say it. Ehud Barak.
Unofficial capacity. I mean, what do you know, if anything, about this?
I genuinely don't have insight into his relationships other than to say it's odd that he's got pictures.
Someone in the chat just said, I got sex teams in Israel. Really, bro? What the fuck?
CIA. It's odd that he has relationships with so many world leaders, that he's getting access from Gordon Brown's trade secretary about what purchases UK is going to make in the financial markets, that he has access to what India's prime minister is going to do in the United States or Israel, that he has access to an Israeli former prime minister, so much so that Netanyahu is making statements about the former prime minister's relationship with Epstein. I mean, how is this person as connected? Actually, that's one of the questions I want to ask President Clinton.
Chat saying Ehud Barak. Ehud Barak. Like, what else are you chatting? Ehud Barak. Coffeezilla in the White House. Coffeezilla in the White House. I need Family Guy Subway Surfers now. Actually, this chat is funny, bro.
It's like, who is this guy? or Trump, or in our classified information. I mean, why is this guy as connected as he is? People say, oh, he's just a collector of influential people. I know a lot of people who network in Congress. I try to network. I don't know all these world leaders. I know a lot of people who network in Congress. I try to network.
Goomba? Are they now? Think about this.
I don't know all these world leaders. You don't get there just by networking. There's something else going on.
That's a great question. I have the same question. I mean, it's a very strange thing.
I'm a
I want
networking
to talk about Trump's relationship with Epstein for a second. There have been a lot of revelations from the files, a lot of weird behavior from the president, who normally is unbothered by anything press related. And yet we just had something come out very interesting. It seems to be a 2019 interview with the Palm Beach police chief, Michael Ryder. And he said that basically Trump blew the whistle on Epstein's activities and said, thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this, saying Maxwell was evil. This definitely surprised me. I'm not going to lie. I said to myself, why didn't they? If I was there, I'd put that out sooner. I mean, I'm just kind of shocked that was in there.
Hey.
But also, it seems like later he said he didn't know what was happening.
At the time, did you know why he was taking those young women?
No, I don't know really why.
So, what do you make of this? Were you surprised?
No, I had no idea. He was a terrific guy. Great guy. It's almost a quote verbatim. Great guy. He was. He had a lot of girls, young girls, some of them very young. Extraordinary. Jeffrey, terrific guy.
I was pretty shocked. I was like, what is this? I don't know what to make of it, really.
Yeah, I was surprised. I said on its face, it looks like a good thing that he was saying that Epstein should be held accountable. I wish more people had done that. I guess the questions for President Trump is why did it continue, and does he know other people who were abusing these?
Chad, would you rather have Jews or Jeets in charge of America?
I apologize by says love for one of your intros. Love from Jamaica.
Are you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Oh!
Girls, and what else does he know about Epstein's relationships?
Regulated.
But, on the face, that one call is it seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah, it was weird. It also made me wonder, because in 2002, there's that birthday book, right? 2005 or 2006, it looks like he calls and says, hey, we all knew this was basically going down. So glad you're taking him down. I mean, the whole thing is very confusing, actually. I don't know if we're ever going to get the truth on that, maybe. But, Ghislaine Maxwell is an interesting character because he says, oh, she's evil. Well, he was friends with her for a very long time. Now she seems to be playing a part in the game. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this. Ghislaine Maxwell basically said through her lawyer, I will clear Trump and Clinton if pardoned. I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Well, I was in her deposition. She said, I want to pardon and I'll clear Clinton and Trump. But she also says, give me clemency and I'll name all the other people who were these young girls. I mean, come on. She's basically saying, okay.
She's doing mafia tactics. She's saying, if you give me freedom, I'll give all the names. I'll give it up. I'll rat.
You want to know who these people are? Get me out of jail. And so it's the most corrupt thing I've seen. And this is why we know there are other powerful people, right? Because we know that Maxwell is saying it, the documents are saying it.
Do you remember that crypto millionaire who the last thing he tweeted before he ended up drowning? He said, CIA and Mossad are running a pedophile blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico. They're going to plant a laptop on me. I will be drowned and tortured to death. The next day he died. That was the last thing he tweeted. And he was saying it was Puerto Rico. That's not Little St. James Island. Imagine how many other of these operations are running.
The survivors are saying it, and the only two people who are in jail, one is dead, Jeffrey Epstein, and the other one is
allegedly
Maxwell.
I mean, I want to put a finer point on that. Actually, Maxwell's life got better after the Transparency Act, which, I'm happy about the transparency, but just on stating on levels of fact, since 2025, the only person who's ever faced real accountability on Jeffrey Epstein, her life has gotten better. The survivors' lives have arguably gotten worse. The DOJ failed to redact a bunch of stuff and expose them to the world. I mean, it just seems like this is my problem, and it leads me to the question of, we kind of
If we're gonna torture terrorists for the war on terror in Guantanamo Bay, why? I'm not advocating for this, but shouldn't someone like Ghislaine Maxwell be brought to Guantanamo Bay to torture the shit out of her? Hypothetically, I don't advocate for that. But if you're gonna say okay, we need a war on terror, and terrorists should be waterboarded to get information out of her, why don't they apply that same logic to this?
Started it's great that we have transparency. I love the
No, that's wrong. Okay, then don't do it for terrorists. What's the point of having Guantanamo Bay if you're not going to use it when shit hits the fan?
Transparency. But where's the accountability, right?
Well, you're absolutely right. But this is the first time any survivors seem heard. This is the first time that we've actually had a government take action and release these files after decades. This is the first time that there's a conversation, at least, about elite accountability. Now, that conversation, as you pointed out, is going very differently in Britain and Norway and other countries. And the question is America going to pass the moral test? Are we just going to shrug and say, no, these people are too rich, we still want their money, we still like hanging out with them, they fund too many of the nonprofits, they fund too many of the universities and fund too many of the hospitals. And so, you know what, we're going to give them a time out. They need to go quiet for a year or two, and then they can rehabilitate themselves? Or are we actually going to have accountability in America where they are stripped of their position, where they are investigated, and where, when crimes have happened, they're prosecuted? And that's an open question, because so far we have not seen the accountability.
Well, also the FBI, you know, for as long as I've been sort of watching what they do, they're sort of the world police. I mean, unlike other kind of national agencies, they don't just concern themselves with what's happening in America. They go after people internationally, right? It's very clear that Epstein's organization was an international operation. Even if you're trying to make the claim that he was trafficking to himself, there were other people assisting in that, right? We see in the files, Epstein was paying a guy named Daniel Syed, who's not dead yet, who to basically go scout for women, right? And those women later, they gave their passports, and later they were brought to America. So all this stuff is in the files, this international ring that was going on, whether or not you want to say he was trafficking to himself. I mean, do we even have the gumption to target that? I hate to put it so crassly, but I feel like people just want a scalp. I mean, that feels bad to say. We want justice, but even symbolic justice would be better than this.
Someone's head, allegedly, in my opinion, needs to roll down the White House steps. One of these pedophiles just there needs to be a public execution. People are not going to be satisfied until there's real justice.
Right, which is basically, we released everything and we get nothing.
And that's why I went and gave the 6 names this morning on the floor of the House. I mean, many of those names are foreigners, but they were listed as co-conspirators. And the question is, are we going to have justice?
GG, black SUV on the way. All right.
So, you know, one of the survivors told me
I'm just joking.
The person who her when she was 17 happened in France, and that this person has left both France and the United States to evade the prosecution of the authorities. And so the question is just, are we going to care enough to get justice? Because you're right, it's not just justice of famous names that were caught up in all of this. There are a lot of people around the world who are caught up in these girls, and these women want justice. They don't want just the shaming of famous names. They want their accusers held accountable. Think about it. For 20, 30 years, they've seen these people accumulate wealth, fly around, escape any accountability, and they were treated as disposable, as that they didn't matter, as if they were just objects for the gratification of rich and powerful men.
Perfectly said. The final question here, what's the worst thing you've seen in these files?
I've seen some pretty sick things. I mean, just the grotesque nature of what they did to young girls. I mean, it's much worse than just
like worse than a poop festival.
I mean, it's violent, it's ugly, it's sick, and that is just stomach churning. And then the scale of it. I don't think people understand how many of these young girls were caught up in this. And the class issue is at the core of this. That's why.
Here's the obfuscation. The class issue is at the core of this. No. It's not a class issue, bro. It's not a class issue. Oh my God, I hate, they're redirecting, and he's not going to name, but
we're caught up in this, and the class issue is at the core of this. That's why I said Epstein class, because a lot of these girls were working class. A lot of them didn't have fathers.
These are Hassan Piker talking points. No, it's not a class issue. It's not capitalism, communism. It's not the working class. And no. Why is this going on? Why is he saying Goy? Who was he working for? Was he working for the class of Israel? So stupid. I'm just getting sick of people running circles about what's so blatantly obvious.
They were targeted. They were preyed upon by rich and powerful people. And then they were told, don't call the police, nothing is going to happen. Don't call the FBI, nothing's going to happen. And the person who did call the FBI in 1996, she was called a liar. this is a moral reckoning for this country. It's an elite governing class that is immature, that is callow, that is reckless, that is arrogant, that is self-entitled, and that has done horrendous things.
Well, everybody that they just named in this interview too, Howard Lutnick, Leslie Wexner, Leon Black, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, all these people, what class do they belong to? Like what, this is the obvious cope, the obvious running cover is insulting to all of our intelligence.
The question is, are we just going to try to brush it aside and move on, as the president says, or are we actually going to have a moral reckoning, have a new moral vision, and be rooted in the values that built this country? And that is what's at stake.
And that's our interview. Thanks to Congressman Ro Khanna for coming on the show. If you want to support the show, you can do so at Patreon.
Okay, nice episode, nice episode. I saw this yesterday too. So here's a Sean Ryan response to Goyim.
I was talking about that VC woman, Masha Booker, earlier. And we had interviewed
Oh, he
her
brings up Goyim to him.
And I never released the interview because she didn't pass the sniff test. I just thought she was completely full of shit. We found something that said she was tied to Epstein, and she got very uncomfortable in the interview and wanted it pulled out. And I said, we're not pulling it out. We're not pulling it out. Or we're not releasing anything at all.
I can't believe people ask you to withhold stuff. I've never...
We don't... The only time I do that is when I'm talking to somebody that was in special ops or the agency that says something that was on an operation that they're like, I don't think that's
that's to
still
protect.
classified.
That's to protect our troops. Or
And so that's the only time that I'll do it. But with her, she didn't. Me and Jeremy, me and the whole team had a long talk. It was like I think this whole thing's bullshit, and so we didn't release it. Well, turns out it was all bullshit.
Just got a baby pig comfort plushie for my raging anxiety and autism. I'm naming it Porco.
I can't even remember what she said in the interview. It was basically like, oh no, what did she say? Do you remember?
It said that she was working PR in New York and she was introduced to Jeffrey Epstein and was totally innocent. That's
It turns out she was his PR agent. In fact, there was a big article that just came out, right?
It's in Forbes this morning.
It's in Forbes.
That was all in the files. Right?
It's in Forbes. And, and so I want to ask you, we looked at a lot of her emails because she was a former guest. We're probably going to release the interview now.
You should.
We're just going to have to do a little dialogue at the beginning, kind of explain him what this all is. But
get to the Goy part. Where's the Goy part?
So everybody can see it. I wish I had it.
Okay, mid-podcast. Oh, yeah, American flag. Oh, guns. Woo! Guns, an American, and a bunch of whiskey. I'm an American white man with an American flag and a bunch of alcohol, a bunch of liquor, and my guns.
Use.
No, Elon.
Indian American born in Philadelphia. You treat every person with equality and respect, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Muslim.
I knew he was going to say Hindu. He threw that in. Look at that. Okay, look at the order of the religions right here. Nice little catch. Why did he mention Hinduism?
Equality and respect, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Hindu, whether you're...
Hindu before Muslim. The three Abrahamic faiths for him.
Muslim. Are there cases?
Hindus have 33 million gods.
Of anti-Semitism in America? Yes, there are.
Fuck yeah, there are. I'm not going to argue.
I skipped the part. Oh, fuck, where's
the rest of us?
She said that on the... it's in one of the emails.
Yep. They think you're more. Wow. And then, I don't know, she thinks they're smarter. She says her
here it is,
with her, and she wanted to do DNA tests. And she wanted to do DNA tests from, what's that website, Jim? 23andMe.
Yeah.
And she only wanted to work with people that are 98% Jewish or more. And then, I don't know, she thinks they're smarter. She says they're smarter than all the rest of us.
She said that on the... it's in one of the emails.
Yep.
Oh, that's just...
Oh, really? It said that? Oh, I didn't know that. Really? What? He knew that. He knew that it said that. Of course he did.
Put the email up right now so everybody can see it. I wish I had it. I'll show it to you after this. But in those emails, there's a lot of stuff. What are these? Goyim? Goy? Do you know what this is?
I mean, I've heard the term, but...
How long ago have you been bald? Also, you look like a Babcock-ass nigga.
What is that?
What does it mean? It's a...
He doesn't know what Goyim means, you fucking lying fraud. You little fraud. You fraud. Coming into America and trying to run our country. You are a liar. You are a liar.
I think it means slaves, right?
Nation cattle.
It means subhuman. It means beneath. It means not chosen.
nation cattle.
It's a slur.
Yeah, it's a racial slur to everybody that's not Jewish.
GLM.
This is in these files, like,
and she's saying
everywhere.
This?
Not just her. Epstein's talking to the former prime minister of Israel.
Goyim. He's literally doing the name. Goyim? What's a Goyim? I'm just like you with my King Burger. I eat the fry French every day with my regulated Goyim.
And what is that? What's going on? And then we see all these laws being passed here in the States for anti-Semitism. What about the rest of us?
Look, boomers Gen X and boomers are waking up. Let's go. Let's go.
Why aren't we protecting the rest of us? What is that?
Well, look, I think we've got to get back to the basic principles of this country. I'm of Hindu faith, Indian American.
Yeah, okay. Hindu gods, how many? See you in Valhalla, said Kash Patel. 330 million gods. 33 crore gods, but this is a popular misunderstanding in Sanskrit, which means crore. 33 main type of divine beings. Again, 33 is a Freemason number, the number of power. Popular deities include Ganesha, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga, Krishna, Hanuman. Yeah.
Born in Philadelphia.
So when he says "in God we trust," which one of the 330 million is he trusting?
You treat every person with equality and respect, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Muslim. Are there cases of anti-Semitism in America? Yes, there are.
Fuck yeah, there are. I'm not going to argue that.
Okay. He's asking what goy means, and immediately he starts saying anti-Semitism.
And have there been incidents? Yes. But is there an arrogance in Silicon Valley beyond just these emails of some people who think they're better than other human beings? That, to me, is the fundamental construct, right? That needs to be challenged. That you're not better just because you may be rich.
You know, India has one of the biggest caste systems in the world, or maybe of all time, where people who are of wealth and they are seen as better. This is why it's so common for them to worship idols. Like people in India worship Trump statues. They worship Messi statues. This is not even speculation or conspiracy. This happens all the time.
You're not better just because you may have been a billionaire. You're not better just because you're part of the Epstein network. Like, I have so much more respect for people who wear the nation's uniform, who keep our country safe, for firefighters, for law enforcement, for nurses, for EMT workers, for teachers. The people who built this country, steel workers, people on the factory floors.
He's giving this politician yap. Answer the question.
And we have lost that sense of respect for people who really, through hard work, built America, right? And I think about how I grew up in Bucks County.
SNEAKO. Someone asked me to show my hairline on stream last night. I need a transplant.
Little league coaches, right? And they never had a shot. They never dreamed of going and making millions of dollars. I don't have a problem with people going and becoming rich and starting companies, but the sense that you're better than folks, that the rules don't apply to you, and the sense that the economy should just work for you. Some people say, like, yeah, they should get to call the shots, that they have some kind of God-given right to rule or lead, that America will be better off with them in charge. And I fundamentally reject that. And that is the tale of two Americas is the problem, I think, in this country. It's why people voted for Bernie. It's why people voted for Trump. They're sick of it. They want to be seen for the people who actually built America, the forgotten Americans. And Trump campaigned on that. And people are like, well, what now? Why aren't you going after these people? You said you were going to tear them down. You said you were going to hold this corrupt system accountable, drain the swamp. What happened?
It was all bullshit. Why do you think that? Why are they protecting the abusers? Why didn't those names come out?
Because they're all implicated. Because they all got blackmailed.
Little black lines over all the real important shit. Honestly, what do you think that is?
They're powerful. They're very powerful. One person talked about a name who is in the files who hasn't gotten attention.
So you're hating on the guy who released the files? Yeah, but it's just like so disingenuous to be like, what? Goy? I didn't see that. What? Shut up.
I want to say the name, but who said that this guy is so powerful in New York that everyone fears him. And I think that the names that probably haven't been released yet or blacked out, they're probably people who are very, very powerful, who have financial interests, maybe they're saying, look, you put our name out and we're going to talk about who else was involved. We're going to spill the beans about more of what is there. And so I think they were actually very clever. What they did is they put out enough. And they put out a lot of bad stuff that people would say, well, this is a legitimate release. You ask me, is it a legitimate release? Yeah. They put out a lot of stuff. It was pretty bad. I didn't expect even that we'd get this far. But then they didn't put out the nuclear stuff. And so this is the way of saying, yeah, it's not BS. I mean, if I go to a judge saying, oh, they didn't release the files. No, we released the files, and the judge will look at it. Bro, they put out millions of documents. They've called out a lot of people who are powerful folks. But what they do by that diversionary tactic is they can keep the the worst of it secret. And now it's harder for Massey or me or the survivors to say, let's still get all the files. So someone is being very sophisticated in giving us just enough to pass the test, but keeping the most powerful people protected. And this is a question that we need answered. I mean, why are these people being protected? Who are they? What power do they have? What do they know? Because politically, it makes no sense. Why wouldn't you release this stuff?
You think there's people more powerful than the ones that are already in there? I mean,
Yes. Yes, I think there are people who are more powerful or have more information or are more connected into some of these networks that haven't been released. There's no other explanation. I mean, I'm willing to listen to Blanche because he's saying we can see the unredacted files, but there's no other explanation for having an email to Jeffrey Epstein with the abuser's name blacked out, and the email just says, I enjoyed the naughty girl you sent, or I enjoyed the Brazilian girl. Like, why are you blacking that out? Or, you have my permission to kill, blacked out. Why? Who are you think that?
Who are they going to kill?
Yeah, you think a survivor is
Did they kill?
You think it's
Aren't they saying there's bodies buried at the New Mexico ranch?
There were emails about that, and and so there's.
I'll bet there's no excavators over there right now looking for anything.
And how do you not investigate it? Blanche as well. They're just men partying.
I wonder who owns that ranch now. Do you know?
I do not know.
I wonder if we could find that out, bring them in.
Let's see.
Maybe they can do their own.
Maybe you do the investigation here. I mean, on this podcast. I mean, but the point is, you don't have you can get people voluntarily, but you don't have you've done more than the DOJ's done, but you don't have the power to subpoena. Congress has the power to subpoena. We have such power to subpoena that Bill Clinton, a former president, caved and is now coming and testifying in Congress. You don't think that we could exercise that same power with all of these people who are in the files?
San Rafael.
Why do you think the DOJ isn't doing anything? Because shouldn't they be the ones that are indicting people?
They should.
Who they indicted?
They haven't indicted a single person.
Really?
So, post after they said, oh, he's a dead guy and let's move on. They have not released the names of the co-conspirators who they should have indicted. They have not released the names of the people they should have prosecuted, and let alone they've done nothing to investigate these people. And I don't know why. Like they say, okay, there's no, it doesn't rise.
I wonder why.
Well, how do you know if you haven't investigated it? Have you called these people in and have you asked them questions about where they were, what did they do, what did they know? I don't think you have. I know you haven't because these people would be saying that they were already cooperated with law enforcement. So
it's funny that we learned about how America has hubris and this idea of the world empire.
Keep coming like Canada edit. Also, every time you goon, the Jew wins.
We know about hubris and the American arrogance, but it's like this. Look how embarrassing this is on a world stage, where we're seeing that the country's run by pedophiles and nothing's done about it. That there's like nobody being prosecuted.
I mean, just think about this rationally. You have all these files. You got rich people, powerful people talking about being on the island. You're investigating the case back in 2007 or in 2019. Doesn't it say, okay, I'm going to send an FBI agent or someone to talk to these powerful people about Epstein just to understand what was going on? You don't have to, I mean, and they didn't do any of this. Why? Because they were intimidated. Because these people were at the Davos conferences together. They were financing the same politicians together.
SNEAKO.
You got Donald Trump saying,
Can
oh,
you
Bill
address
Clinton
the
shouldn't testify.
accusations
He doesn't
that you
want
are
to
the
testify. It's all the same
American
club.
ever?
No matter where you're watching the Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this at all, anything, please like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, head to Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave us a review.